in Brewster 250 years ago. On June 17, 1776, the inhabitants of the Harwich North Precinct, now known as Brewster, were called together to consider an official declaration of withdrawal from Great Britain. Town Chair Solomon Freeman had little difficulty receiving overwhelming approval for a motion that should the Honorable Congress, for ye safety of the colonies, declare their independence of the Kingdom of Great Britain, that ye said inhabitants will solemnly engage with their lives and fortunes to support them in that measure. A committee of correspondence was formed, composed of Edward Hall, Joseph Nye, and James Paine. These men would be privy to all communications with the other colonies and bring appropriate issues of vote for the town to pursue. Over 40 North Precinct residents fought in the war, on land and sea. Here are a few of a special note. Edmund Sears participated in the Boston Tea Party in 1773. When the British threatened to land on Cape Cod, he rushed to assist in the defense. His three sons served in Washington's army: Elkanah, Edmund, and Joshua. Edward Bangs was enrolled in Harvard on April 19, 1775. When he heard that hostile British troops were marching west out of Boston toward Concord, he hastily equipped himself from the college armory of Harvard's local militia company, repaired to the scene of action, and fought gallantly during the day. Isaac Bangs, a recent graduate of Harvard, toured the Chatham and Brewster area registering new militiamen. Bangs was commissioned as the second lieutenant and was responsible for building up military preparation on Dorchester Heights, and experienced the joy of seeing the British troops driven from Boston. Isaac later joined forces with Captain Jacob Allen's company and followed the retreat of the British as they traveled southward. Starting in 1776, he began a diary.
I was fired with an ardent zeal to be farther instrumental in the glorious cause in which America is now engaged. With this view, I entered Colonel John Bailey's regiment as a lieutenant to Captain Jacob Allen.
The diary is in the custody of Brewster Ladies Library and available online. Elkanah Cobb served as a seaman aboard the privateer Bunker Hill. Unfortunately, this ship was seized by a British frigate. Later, he served as a seaman aboard the ship Wilkes, but was on board for only a short time, anchored in Cape Cod Bay, when this ship was also chased by the British Navy and driven into the breakers on the backside of Eastham. Cobb next took command of the privateer cutter out of Salem. The cutter was able to take 3 valuable prizes under his mastery and returned to Salem with full crew intact. He volunteered to serve as master's mate aboard the ship Resource and engaged in a 3-hour battle with a British sloop of war. Another British frigate entered the fray by flanking Cobb's ship, leading to the eventual capture of both boat and crew. After receiving much cruel treatment, Cobb managed to escape in an open boat and return to Salem. He then became a privateer on the ship General Greene. His crew captured a British sloop of war with 18 guns and a crew of 150 sailors. He also seized a ship sailing out of Liverpool with a cargo valued at £35,000, which he successfully brought to Salem. Zenas Finney, while mate and prize master, was 3 times taken by the English and twice driven ashore by the English. At one time, he was sent to a prison ship in New York and treated as a rebel captive. The British ship of the line Somerset ran aground on the Peaked Hill bars off Truro in 1778. The crew, numbering 480 men, were marched through the Cape Cod towns on their way to Boston. Joseph Nye, Esquire, of the North Precinct, afforded them supplies on their way, and in February 1779, the Board of War allowed him £780 for supplying them. Finally, in 1780, a committee was chosen for the purpose of preparing a civil constitution for the people of Massachusetts Bay, and included Captain Benjamin Barry and John Freeman from the North Precinct. The part containing the Declaration of Rights was considered at length, and upon taking the vote, 32 were favorable to amendments and 26 opposed. The articles relating to the executive power were debated, and 32 were favorable to amending and 6 opposed. The articles relating to revising the Constitution in 15 years were opposed, and revision in 7 years met the approval of all present, numbering 38 votes. The Constitution was adopted by the colony and went into effect October 25th. The first election in this town under it was held September 4th. The honor of furnishing the first senator from Barnstable County belongs to the North Parish of Harwich, Solomon Freeman, Esquire. The whole vote of this town was cast for him. This Massachusetts Constitution, drafted by John Adams, later served as the basis for the United States Constitution. In 1783, the War for Independence terminated, Great Britain acknowledging the 13 colonies to be free, sovereign, and independent states, and the veterans, scarred, worn down, but with high hopes for the future, returned once more to their homes, now safe through their valor, to resume their vocations and enjoy the blessings of peace, if not of plenty. Who among them from this town heard the farewell words of Washington on that ever-memorable day, November 2nd, preceding the day the Army was disbanded? We have been unable to learn, and it is probable they will never be known.